The first ever quest added to RuneScape was the Cook's Assistant quest, where you had to help the Lumbridge Castle cook with acquiring all of the ingredients to bake a cake for the Duke's birthday. Now the quest is usually one of, if not the first quest, that new players would do when they jump into RuneScape after leaving Tutorial Island. All of the items that you need for the quest can be found around Lumbridge, and you don't need to travel that far to get them. First you'll need to grab a pot and some wheat. Then you need to head to a windmill and turn the wheat into flour and then put it in the pot. From there you need to grab a bucket and head over to a dairy field to milk one of the cows before picking up an egg in one of the chicken coops. Once you have all 3 items, you just need to speak to the cook again and the quest is complete. Now there's something that I hadn't realised until I was editing this video, is the reason you don't actually bake the cake yourself is because it requires level 40 cooking to have. So obviously players won't have that level requirement met if it's one of the first things they're doing when they start playing the game. But this got me wondering, could I complete the Cook's Assistant quest in every city around RuneScape? Now of course you can't actually do the quest itself outside of Lumbridge because you need to speak to the cook obviously, but can I at least get all of the items for it? I wanted to find out, so I got to work with trying to find all of the items either for free or for a very low cost from shops to see if I could stay within the city limits. So I started off in Varrock and headed over to the Cook's Guild next to the Grand Exchange, and I picked up some wheat, which I didn't even know that you could do in Varrock, and then I went into the guild to turn it into flour. Now this is where I started to have some issues. You see, you can head over to the Gower farm just south of the Varrock city walls, but there's no eggs or milk outside, so unfortunately I failed in Varrock pretty early on. I did think about going to Falador as my next city, but I knew that there wasn't a windmill there or a wheat field around, so that wouldn't have worked either, so I gave that one a miss. The next place I wanted to try was Relica, which you might be wondering, how does that work? And yeah, I might have cheated a little bit here. You see, if you go south towards the Sinclair Mansion during or after the Murder Mystery quest, you can pick up one of the many eggs from the ground and buy a bucket of milk from the milk seller just outside the mansion. You can then head back into Relica and speak to Sigmund to buy an empty pot. You can also buy an empty bucket if you fancy milking a cow and saving a few gold coins. Once you have the pot, you can head back over to the mansion, and in the northwest corner of the mansion, you can use your pot on the barrel of flour in the corner of the room, and then you have all 3 ingredients. So does this count as Relica passing the test, or is it just Sinclair Mansion, which is basically part of Sears Village? I don't know, but I think we should just say that it passed the test regardless. Next, I thought about trying Ardugany, but I knew that that would be a similar issue as Falador. It does have a windmill, but no chickens or cows, so I didn't bother. So for this test, Ardugany has failed. Last of all, which is kind of cheating again I suppose, I thought I would try the Grand Exchange. Now a lot of people stand at the Grand Exchange for most of the time they spend playing the game, so technically, some players do probably just live here. Buying all 3 ingredients off the Grand Exchange isn't exactly cheap for a new player to do, but it's an easy way if you have to do it, or if you're being lazy. This little challenge did make me realise something though. Aside from Lumbridge, every city is missing at least one thing required to complete this quest, and I'm starting to think that is actually by design. It makes sense to keep players in Lumbridge for this quest so they don't have to travel that far. But if you do get to a different part of the world, you'll have to keep exploring to find the things that you need. So that's everywhere that you can complete the Cook's Assistant quest in Gielinor, and spoiler alert, it's basically just Lumbridge. Thank you so much for watching guys, please remember to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more RuneScape content like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye!